House Republicans, for a third time, blocked a procedural vote on a defense spending bill, raising the risk of a government shutdown in just 10 days. The defeat marks another public embarrassment for House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, as party infighting continues. After the vote failed in the House, he told reporters he would, quote, "just keep working, never give up." Federal agencies will begin to shut down on October 1st unless Congress takes action. It needs to pass either a short-term plan or a full-year funding bill. The Republican spending agenda has hit a roadblock among a small group of hardline conservatives who want lower spending levels. They're asking for $120 billion less than what McCarthy and Biden agreed to in May. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said the deal from May needs to be honored.
A deal is a deal. Extreme House Republicans can't even get an agreement among themselves to keep the government running or to fund the military. Certainly agencies are looking at how to move forward in case there is a shutdown, but the best plan is for there to not be a shutdown.
Not only have House Republicans failed to unify around spending bills, but their ideas are unlikely to win support in the Democratic-controlled Senate. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said, quote, "Instead of decreasing the chance of a shutdown, Speaker McCarthy is actually increasing it by wasting time on extremist proposals that cannot become law in the Senate."
All right, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from, and I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. And today, I just want to go into a couple articles. This first one being from Reuters, and it says, "Shutdown looms as U.S. House Republicans again block own spending bill." So, I'm just going to go into this in another article and bring out a few scriptures. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and straight to the point. And as you can see in the clip, pretty much, the government is, considering shutting down again, which is nothing new. But, just know that Babylon is on its way out of here. Things like this are just more and more signs that America is circling the drain. So I'm just going to read a little bit of this article. It says, U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy's attempt to restart his stalled spending agenda failed on Thursday when Republicans for a third time blocked a procedural vote on defense spending, raising the risk of a government shutdown in just 10 days. The House of Representatives voted 216 to 212 against beginning debate on an $886 billion defense appropriations bill, with 5 hardline conservative Republicans joining Democrats to oppose the measure. It represented a setback for McCarthy the morning after his fractious 221 to 212 majority met for 2.5 hours seeking common ground on legislation to avert the fourth government shutdown in a decade beginning October 1st. As the vote failed, McCarthy told reporters that he will pursue the same strategy I had from January. Just keep working, never give up. Federal agencies will begin to shut down on October 1st unless Congress passes either a short-term continuing resolution known as a CR or a full-year funding bill. So far, House Republicans have failed to unify around either possibility, and the ideas they have considered have only Republican support, making them unlikely to win support in the Democratic majority Senate or be signed into law by President Joe Biden. So, pretty much they're saying by October 1st, the government may shut down again. It's a possibility it will. It's not surprising. So that's pretty much all I'm going to bring out on this article. And then I just came across this one, and I thought the headline was pretty funny, but it's true. And this is from Wolf Street, and it says, "Congrats, America, we did it. Government debt spikes past 33 trillion plus 1.6 trillion since debt ceiling, plus 2.2 trillion from year ago." So pretty much America now is over $33 trillion in debt. As of the national debt clock, America is over $33 trillion in debt. It says the total U.S. national debt spiked by 1.58 trillion since the debt ceiling was lifted, and by 2.16 trillion from a year ago to 33.4 trillion, according to the Treasury Department's figures this afternoon. A stunning amount of new debt that is getting piled on in stunningly short amount of time, as the economy has been growing at decent rates. Congrats, America. And again, just man, people just don't realize like this economy is going to collapse extremely soon. And as you can see, just by the tables, they're showing you that has been going up year by year. The debt ceiling has been raised over the past 5 years, and it's going to continue to raise until pretty much the dollar collapses, and that's what's on the way. Says this 33.03 trillion of debt is composed of two piles of treasury securities. It says 6.8 trillion of non-marketable treasury securities. They're not traded in the market. They're held by U.S. government pension funds, the Social Security Trust Fund, etc., and a portion of it is held directly by Americans in form of the popular I bonds and the less popular EE savings bonds. This balance has remained roughly unchanged since the debt ceiling and is up by 210 billion over 200 year over year. It says 26.2 trillion in marketable securities. They're held and traded by the global public, from regular folks to big funds and financial institutions, including central banks. The Fed is now down to 4.98 trillion after having unloaded 783 billion under QT. Marketable securities outstanding have spiked by 1.51 trillion since the debt ceiling was lifted on June 2nd. A huge amount of additional issuance in 3.5 months, and by 1.9 trillion year over year. So again, this debt is only increasing. It's only increasing. So we're gonna bring out the scriptures. It's pretty much it's only gonna get worse. I'm going to start in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, and verse 6, and it says, "Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon have been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad." And yes, these other nations are pretty much angry at America, it's going to get to the point that even America's allies are going to be angry, but this is pretty much why the BRICS nations are coming together to create their own currency, which is backed by gold, because they realize that, the America is pretty much, the US dollar is weak. This is why these other countries are backing away from it and, going into different types of currencies, that are backed by, actual resources, which is gold and silver. Verse 8, it says, Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so, she may be healed. We may have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go, every one into his own country, for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the sky. So yes, the sins of Babylon have reached unto the sky. Pretty much, Esau Edom is going to keep pushing out wickedness, throughout the earth, because this man's sins have reached unto heaven. And then I'm going to bring that out as well. I'm going to go to the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, and I'm going to start at verse 14. And it says, Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. So pretty much we're approaching the time of Jacob's trouble. And once all hell breaks loose, people is going to be lawless. The police won't be able to do anything. These governors, these people in these, these, I want to say, these high positions, people aren't going to have respect for them. Because again, America is going to collapse. This system, this society is going to collapse soon, And then this debt ceiling is just leading up to it, the dollar crashing, which is pretty much going to lead to all hell breaking loose, because people won't be able to buy and sell, which is why they're trying to, make their way towards that digital, ID, which is, that RFID, micro chip, Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. And yes, that's the time that we're coming into. People are going to lose their minds, They're not going to know what to do once this happens. Verse 19, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Yes, the famine is also looming as well. I did a video the other day, and other brothers also have been doing videos about it, but pretty much, you have McDonald's and Wendy's pretty much selling burgers, for cheap. But, there's been a massive recall on ground beef, because pretty much they're saying, the cows had mad cow disease. You have those that are ignorant of our people that pretty much went out and ate them, went on camera. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, all right, well, you don't know what's in it. When people start having adverse reactions, we know why. If it's not because of, the jab, it's because of this tainted meat that they ate, Then I'm going to bring that out as well real quick. is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 4, and verse 13. And it says, "And the Lord said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread defiled among the Gentiles, whither I will drive them." So yes, pretty much this food that we're eating is tainted, even if we know we pretty much try to eat as healthy as, we possibly can. The food is still tainted under, Esau Edom, because this man is spraying chemicals, on the foods. He's lab growing food, even if, you pretty much grow your own food, it's still it's still, going to have poison in it, ultimately, so the food that we're eating is defiled, so pretty much we have to, like, the apostles said, we have to get the best of the worst, so I'm going to jump to the book of staying in Ezekiel. This is book of Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse 19, because this is what's coming. It says, "They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them. In the day of the wrath of the Lord, they shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity." And yes, in the time to come, money, isn't going to be able to save you, from the wrath of the Lord. Only, our Lord Yahweh Shai, if he has mercy, Lord willing, we be of the elect, if he has mercy on us, is he going to deliver us? But money isn't going to be able to save you. Just roughly paraphrasing, it does say that money is a defense. I'm going to just bring it out. All right, Slakia. It's the book of Ecclesiasticus. Slakia, not Ecclesiasticus. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 12. And it says, "For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it." So pretty much, wisdom is what's going to get us through, this particular time to come. And then, I have to bring it out, since I'm mentioning it, the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and 6. And it says, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure." So yes, wisdom and knowledge is what's going to get us through, these perilous times to come, because it's going to get extremely bad out here, So we're going to need the Lord to deliver us from Jacob's trouble. So I'm going to bring that out as well. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 30 and verse 7. And it says, Slaki, I'm going to start at verse 6. It says, "Ask ye now and see, whether a man doth travail with child? Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? Alas, for the day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And yes, that he is being the elect of the nation of Israel, because it's like those are the only ones that are going to make it through, that time of trouble. Because again, it's going to be extremely bad. It's going to be, 70 AD all over again, but much worse. It's going to be on a much grander scale. Because again, that's what it's for. It's for Jacob, because this is the last time that Jacob, meaning the Israelites, are going to be in trouble. So this is, one of the main reasons why our Lord Yahushua has to come back and deliver us, because, Esau, Edom, he's going to be unleashed, and there's nothing that we can do, to carnally come up against this man. We can't, we can't do anything, because this man can, he's pretty much waiting for that. So, these people that pretty much think that, they can take him on with his blessing, they're sadly mistaken, But overall, this is why the Lord has to come back and deliver us, This man is too powerful, And then as well, I'm going to go to the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 1. And it says, And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was a time, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Again, the elect, because it's going to be so bad that, Michael the archangel is going to have to step in, to help us. Again, Lord willing, we be of that number, because they're going to be, more Israelites that are going to die than those that be saved, But before that happens, you still have America pretty much collapsing. So I'm going to come to the book of James, chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and ye shall shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. Ye have lived in pleasure on the earth, and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Ye have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. So yes, pretty much the elite, they gather together all these riches, just to ultimately end up giving it back to, the nation of Israel. But again, it's going to be so bad out here that, people are going to lose their jobs. Everyone is going to lose their job, to the point where, everyone, that's why they're trying to push that, so-called Great Reset. This is why they're trying to bring in that digital ID, that digital currency, which is going to be, by way of that RFID microchip, which is the mark of the beast spoken of in Revelation chapter 13 and verse 16. This is their whole point of trying to collapse this system, and the debt ceiling and this government shutdown is just, pretty much adding fuel to the fire, And let me see. And I'm going to end it on this. It's the book of Revelation, chapter 18, and verse 2. And it says, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird." So yes, pretty much, this is after America gets hit with those missiles, it's pretty much going to become a desert. This land is going to be barren. Nothing will dwell here. No one, no people will ever dwell in this land again. Only desert creatures will dwell here. After that destruction comes. Because that's how devastating it is. Because it is prophesied that America, aka Babylon the Great, will be destroyed by way of fire. When that's the time that we're in. That America is going down, and these are just more and more signs that we're getting closer and closer to that time. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Kakwadash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and the artists of Great Millstone, who I learned this truth from. And I'd like to say peace and salutations unto the hopefully elect. Till the next time I say Shalom.